So today's lesson is to not use design patterns without a need. And I believe the saying goes, a hammer looking for a nail. Don't go around looking for a reason to use a design pattern. Don't use it unless you have a need for it. And especially in today's world where there are hundreds, if not thousands of design patterns, lots of posts, lots of job offers out there that all have 1,000 different acronyms about different design patterns. And again, I always say that is, you will never succeed as a developer if you try to follow all these patterns just because they seem popular. So do your code, make your applications, and only use design patterns once you find a need for them. Don't go looking for, I've got to implement this pattern just because somebody has said so. And it's very specific to, like I say, design patterns. Design patterns are there to, or rather design patterns come about when a need for them came about, and then they worked well in that situation and they become a pattern. But there's still such a drive for people to just simply want to follow a pattern and also feel like their code is not valid or won't work if it doesn't follow a pattern. And it just isn't true. You don't need any patterns whatsoever. Make your code work for you, and then introduce patterns as you need them. So in order to know that patterns exist, you have to read up on them, and that's good. Read up on patterns, look at them used in the application they were originally invented for, and let that broaden your knowledge. Keep those in your head so you're aware of patterns, and then you can pluck out of thin air, almost out of your head, whenever you feel, I remember there was a pattern that did something similar that could maybe solve my problem. But don't start with a program and go, well, I feel this, what patterns do we need? What architecture do we need? Kind of thing. Just start your program small, simple, easy, and clean. Build it to work and then refactor later. So one of the design patterns that I get asked a lot about, I wouldn't even know, to be honest, if it's classed as a design pattern. More of a workflow, I guess, but I'm sure all of you have heard of Agile. And it's basically, I wanted to do a video on Agile, mainly because, as I've mentioned before, I don't follow patterns. The only reason I know what Agile is from simply Googling the term and seeing what people say. But I thought I'd kind of mix this video with, one, telling you not to do certain design patterns until you need them, and then two, kind of coming about on this Agile workflow that I feel, to me, has always just been a progression of my skill, and I've ended up doing something very similar by nature. And all Agile is in my eyes, so again, this is not a Wikipedia dictionary terminology that's exact. This is my understanding and interpretation of what people say Agile is, or rather what I feel Agile is and what it means and the point of it. So in my eyes, the point of Agile is kind of the English word. Agile means to be quick changeable, able to react to change fast. That's what I interpret Agile as. And in terms of code, the reason this come about is, I guess in the 80s, 90s, the code back then was very heavy, very cumbersome, involved a lot of work, and was nigh on impossible to change as new technologies and new equipment come out. And that kind of practice of code being very heavy and hard to change as it grows is very common still. As well as a project manager coming to try to finance a software program to be made. And they go, right, this is the job. This is a big job. It's brand new software. This is roughly how much we feel it's going to cost and the time it'll take. But from day zero to the point of spending millions of dollars potentially, you have no real feedback in software in the way that most software developers work. It's simply, until it works and it functions, there's no percentage or progression. If you haven't finished your software, you haven't finished your software. And this caused a big problem for not only the software developers, but the rest of their team, the management, the finance, everything else. So I think this is where Agile come about, and it's all aimed at having sort of progression in your code. So at what point have you hit some kind of goalpost or progressed or finished something or tested something to, sign it off as complete? As well as giving that kind of feedback, as we were mentioning, of hitting a sort of goalpost. So to me, if you're working in an Agile environment, if you will, it means nothing more that your code is in small chunks, for one, as we mentioned before. It's useful to have small chunks, but it's also complete in sections, if you will. It's small, it's bite-sized, and you're able to quickly change that code so other requirements come about. So one, it's about keeping your code small and broken into chunks. Two, I feel it's also about being able to test and confirm chunks of code before the whole application itself is complete. And 3, it's about the, you know, the quick change of new things happen. So Agile, as I mentioned, isn't technically a design pattern of code. It's more of a way of working in code. And then there are design patterns that complement that. But if one of the things I'd say read up on if you don't know, and this is rare I'd tell you to ever read up on, is simply that kind of method of working, is to work in the small, bite-sized chunks of code that can be signed off. And you'll find that actually what we've been doing in all of these videos all along has been exactly that. Every video we complete, we've completed something. So every hour of a video, we marked off a state of completion. Something builds, compiles, and we can test it. So we are working Agile already. So if you feel you're not sure what Agile is, you've been doing this ever since you've been watching my videos. So there you go. You can say you now work in an Agile way, based on what I feel Agile is. So again, open to discussion. These videos are all about the discussion. That's what I'm trying to get, you know, these videos to do, is to bring out opinions and what other developers feel, and maybe if they feel I'm right or wrong, and we start a discussion there. So, you know, go ahead and comment, and we'll have some good discussions. I mentioned a few times as well, if anyone wants any, I've got mouse pads. So I made 25 of these originally, and they disappeared within like an hour of the first video. I just thought it was cool. I finally got a good mascot, a good logo, and it looks nice. And I've had quite a few people wanting, you know, things with my mascot or logo on. So I made the mouse pad. It's been really popular. If you want one, all you've got to do is leave a comment in the description. I said that in the first video and they all disappeared very quickly. So I do ask really, just to try and pace these out a bit and get a bit more people involved in the free learning, if you will, is to also share one of my videos somewhere, whether it's on your social media, whether it's with a friend, wherever, and just post a little link of where you shared, you know, a link back to this channel or to any video I do, just so people can get the free learning and more people are aware. And then I'll send out, you know, free mouse mats to anyone that asks.